Shuchitaji, sorry about that, to answer and just kind of give us a little bit more light on this whole topic of diversity and unity. And then Bhakti, I want to hear your thoughts as well.
Sure. So when we talk about Sanatana Dharma, I think we keep trying to fit it into the Abrahamic lens of what religion should be. So the Abrahamic view of one book, one prophet, one type of relationship with God, and only one God, right? But we fail to recognize that Sanatana Dharma is a civilization, and how a civilization was built. And it's built on inquiry, right? Never were our ancestors told don't question in the past. It's only become a recent thing because of moving from country to country and things like that. But it's built on questioning, debating, understanding, and choosing what I can authentically live, right? To be that, have that integrity, right? So we can't say we want to fit into the Abrahamic lens, because then we're doing a disservice to Sanatana Dharma. At the same time, the notion of questioning, inquiry, and seeking, that is a substratum for Sanatana Dharma. And that can be influenced and infused into all sampradayas, right? All sampradayas believe you need to go into the text to understand. Now, again, with Sanatana Dharma, it includes Hinduism, it includes Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism. We're all under the same umbrella of Sanatana Dharma. So it is possible, but it can only be possible when we recognize that we live differently and we celebrate differently and we teach differently. So I know that seems like a contradiction, but in accepting the diversity rather than shunning people for their belief systems, I think there's so much to be gained. Just because I didn't grow up worshiping Bhagwan Shivji or Devi, Bhagavati Devi, doesn't mean I can't celebrate Shivratri or Navratri, right? There's so many celebrations, and if we're just open to that rather than saying this isn't true, it's possible. And I had my lessons on this too. I grew up with Yajurveda chanting, and I went to a wedding and they were chanting Samaveda and the Purusha Suktam. And I grew up hearing the Purusha Suktam my whole life. And I was like, this sounds wrong. Like, how can they have somebody chant it wrong? And then I asked the Panditjis, and that's the step to take, right? Rather than just judging based off of our notions of religion, we can ask, hey, where did you study? What sampradaya is this from? They said this is, a different, Shukla Yajurveda chanting. And I said, wow, this has its own beauty to it, right? So it's recognizing, accepting the diversity, and having the roots still there, knowing that we are built on inquiry, we are built on understanding and seeking the truth.
I think, and I just kind of come back to that basic core idea of just communication, understanding, and trust. And I know obviously like these are very basic concepts, and we're always working hard to make these more effective and, be more empathetic, but utilizing our core values, and we can still maintain diversity within our religion and our practices, but I guess sharing how it comes back to the core principles. I know Bhakti Ji delved in this a bit earlier, so I won't go too hard into this at this point, but being able to utilize these, various wonderful, beautiful traditions, like Shrutita Ji just said, and being able to bring them back to our core values, bringing back relevance, not feeling threatened by other variations, and not being defensive is very important.
Yeah. And one thing I'd like to add is opening our experiences, similar to what Shrutita Ji said here. An example I say is, this is a little different, but a few years back, one festival season, me and two of my friends, we decided to do almost like an interfaith festival season. So for Diwali, I had my Christian friend and Muslim friend join us in our home for Diwali. That year for Eid, I went to my friend's house for their Eid celebrations. And then for Christmas, I went with my friend to her church. And in that, just that minor effort of making an effort to learn about something else, it was like an immediate disappearance of any stereotypes we may have accidentally built up in our heads. And I know that's an example of interfaith, but we can do that same thing ourselves, right? So if someone is coming from a Gujarati background, why don't you take some of your non-Gujarati friends and explain Navratri the way you celebrate it? If someone is coming from a Bengali background, explain Durga Puja and the importance of that. Someone from Marathi, explain Ganesh Chaturthi. And it's not so much that we're doing different things, it's bring other people into that just to increase the knowledge base. We're not limiting it, we're growing. So the same concept is whether it's interfaith or within our dharma, within our teachings, when we don't know something, we accidentally create stereotypes in our minds. And that's really hard to overcome until we put a little bit of effort. So for example, at our temple, when we teach festivals, we don't just teach about the festivals, we try to do, in this region, they celebrate it like this. In this region, they celebrate it like that. Because all of those are valid and we don't want to get rid of that. That is the beauty of our culture and our traditions and our heritage. We just have so much color, so much energy, so much vibrance that you're not going to get that anywhere else. So we don't want to diminish that even one bit. So that's, and that's very important for multi-generational purposes as well. Because people who are born and raised here are not going to identify with those same structures, right? Like I know that my family is technically Gujarati, but like I don't have that same connection to a heavy Gujarati culture that even one or two generations before me did. I mean, I still do, but growing up here, I'm Hindu first, Gujarati second, right? And that actually Hindu first, Indian second, third is Gujarati. So when we are focused on these cultural things, we have to realize that's actually the third part of our identity growing up here. Think and behave with our teachings in this country.
Thank you,
And I
Bhakti.
think just to add right onto what Bhaktiji said, it's not only that we have to, celebrate it and appreciate how other parts of our country may have celebrated this festival, but it's also our job to educate. And I love that you said that, we want to teach them how they celebrate the same utsav in a different manner, because the only way we can actually emphasize the values that we're trying to teach is by showing how different, in how many different ways it can be celebrated, right? The core root of Navratri may be the same. The value itself that we want to teach the next generation is the same. But if people celebrate it in 5 different ways and each of them are valid,